Hey everybody, welcome to another Great Divide live stream on YouTube. I'm your host, Adam Biggers. You can follow me at AdamBiggers81. You can follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide. Same handle, Twitter and Facebook. And also don't forget to visit our title sponsor, FederalWilliams.com, and that's FEDERAU Williams.com. Contact Mike Williams for all of your realty needs in the Lansing area, whether you're looking in the eastern suburbs of Hazlet, Okemos, or East Lansing, or go to Mike on a statewide basis. He's your guy, FederalWilliams.com, again, and tell Mike Williams that Adam Biggers and Ryan Schuling of Great Lakes Divide sent you. We're going to talk recruiting today. We never talk recruiting. Recruiting is not my wheelhouse. I know enough about it. I'll talk about it when something big happens. Something big did happen last night. Dax Hill committed to Michigan, and we'll talk a little bit about the 2019 class. I have good ties with Charles Thomas. I contacted him. He's excited for the commitment of Dax, and Charles will be here for the Wisconsin game on an official visit. Talk about a couple other targets. I've been asked about Eric Gray a little bit. I've done some recruiting homework for you guys, a little bit more than I normally would, only because of the Dax Hill commitment. And then I also want to talk about Michigan's offense. A lot of people are asking, and you guys will ask, you want to see more from the Michigan offense, and I understand that, but I think right now, Michigan's offense has already shown a decent amount, and I'm going to cite some numbers that support that fact. But before we get into that, before I get in the live chat, I'm going to tweet the live link and put it on Facebook, so give me a minute. So give it a couple minutes for everybody to get in there. And a lot of you guys had been asking me about Dax, and I felt good about Dax because only for a couple reasons. And again, he was one of the guys that I had talked to before. So, when it comes to, like Eric Gray, I don't have any connection with him. So I'm only going to be able to tell you things that I've read from other sources. But with Dax Hill, the communication with Dax, when he and I talked about Michigan, it seemed like there was a great deal of interest. It cooled off. Alabama got in there ultimately, and putting this on the Facebook page real quick while I talk. Ultimately, what really kind of struck me were the comments from his parents. And it wasn't just, hey, Michigan is the best fit for Dax. And I'm not saying this is an indictment on Alabama, but sometimes you just kind of, things kind of connect themselves. And Alabama was in there. And then the comment about wanting to win the right way and winning in all areas of life. And I'm not sure if it's a direct comment against Alabama or just the rest of the schools that, recruited Dax in general. But it is a strong statement coming from the Hill camp, and it is a strong statement supporting that, Michigan football does things the right way. Michigan football can land high-end recruits, and, how the discussion goes. Well, if the guy didn't go to Michigan, well, somebody else paid him, or, whatever that is. But, I think that the comment from Dax Hill's parents make it abundantly clear that they believe that Michigan is 100% above the board and doing things the right way, and ultimately they were comfortable with their son committing to Michigan. So hold on, it's taking me longer than normal to do this. Got to put the So if you guys want to spend, we're going to talk about the offense, and we'll talk a little bit about recruiting. I will keep it short today. But I'll let you guys determine the order that we discuss things. So Jeremy Turner's in here, says, finally caught a live stream. What's good, Biggs? Hey, Jeremy. Kirk Kramer says, hey, Adam. Cody Voiles. Hey, Adam, what's up? Tebow989, driving home. Not a great signal. Hopefully you're on when I get home. That's, who is it? Tebow989. Is that Tim Beck? I think Rock City. So what's up, Adam? Hey, Rock City. All right, so it's tweeted out. If you guys have any questions, thoughts, I'll ask you guys. Dax Hill, that's a huge get for Michigan. I think that I mean, he is what, the number 1 ranked safety. He's number 12 nationally. He's a 5-star commit. The 2019 class is already in really good shape and has been since the commitment of Charles Thomas. But now it's number 7 in the country. Last year, Michigan had the number 22 ranked recruiting class. So I mean, there's a couple guys that I want to talk about, but we'll talk about Dax first. Of course, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State were in there, but Alabama certainly at the end. And Dax had visited Alabama in June, then he came back to Michigan in September this past weekend for the SMU game, and then last night he commits. So I think it's everything kind of fell into place for Michigan, obviously, and Dax Hill. I think that it's a. I mean, it's hard to say, okay, if a kid commits, it's not a good fit. Obviously, it's a good fit because that's why he committed. So I don't feel like it takes 5-star analysis on anyone's part to say, why is Dax Hill a good fit for Michigan? Well, Dax Hill is a really good safety. Michigan wants to continue to build its depth with defensive back. I mean, it just makes sense. It's football sense. He's a good player. They're going to put him in a system. They believe in what he can do, and he's really athletic. And I remember speaking to him last summer about, I forgot what the job was, but he's 6 foot, 186 pounds. He's definitely got that good athletic build that's going to fit well in the secondary. I'll have to look up some of the direct messages, though, because we had an interview. He was actually on his way to a job interview when I was direct messaging him to set up an interview. It was marketing related. So, I mean, he's a smart kid already, he's got a good idea of what he wants to do, and he's just really good at football. So it's a good fit. Rock City says, why is half-baked fan screaming he will not stick with you? I mean, I don't know. And again, it's a commitment. He hasn't signed his letter of intent. Things do change, but I mean, it's taken him this long to commit. And I mean, he's had options. I think this is a good commitment. I think it sticks. I think the Dax Hill to Michigan, and then again, going back to what his parents said, I think this is a commitment that's going to stick. Dax will remain at Michigan. Jeremy Turner says, glad we got a commitment from a 5-star, but we've been burnt before. I'm hoping the best. And again, don't just look at him for the 5-star ranking and automatically look at his tape. I mean, he's good. And we could go through this whole, 5-star stuff. I don't even want to talk about that. But while I am on this recruiting kick, because you guys ask me a lot of recruiting questions, and sometimes I don't always have the latest answer because I don't follow recruiting on a day-in, day-out basis. I do think, though, that there's a chance that Michigan loses out on Eric Gray. Tennessee seems in there pretty well, and he's actually taking an official there this weekend. So, and then he's an all-purpose running back. I think the second target would be Wan'Dale Robinson. And real quick, Eric Gray's bio information, I'll give it to you real quick. He's all-purpose back, 5'10", 193 pounds, from Lasagne Collegiate School in Memphis, Tennessee. And then all-purpose back, this is Wan'Dale Robinson, 5'9.5", 179 pounds, from Western Hills High School in Frankfort, Kentucky. And he's a 4-star. Eric Gray is a 4-star. Gray's a number 3 all-purpose back. Wan'Dale is a number 4 all-purpose back. So, I mean, I don't know if you can actually go wrong. Wan'Dale has really warm interest in Michigan. Alabama's in there, Nebraska and Purdue, Kentucky. His 247 profile indicates warm interest in all of those. But I do believe that it's down to Alabama and Michigan. I talked to some recruiting people that I know, and I do think that Wan'Dale is down to Alabama and Michigan. Then there's a wide receiver, Kyle Ford, and with warm interest in Michigan. But Colorado and Washington, Oregon, UCLA. He's out of Orange, California, so he's in Pac-12 territory. Michigan going out to California and getting a wide receiver. It's happened. We've seen it with Michigan getting Kakoa Crawford. We'll see how it does with Kyle Ford. But I think Kyle Ford and Wan'Dale Robinson, those are two guys that I'm looking out for anyway. So if you guys want to talk about the 2019 class, if you guys want me to run down the 2019 class, we can do that. I do want to talk about the offense, though. Eric313 says every 5-star that's committed to Michigan since Jim has been tired has never flipped. Knock on wood. And again, guys, I don't think it's like a 5-star thing. It's a fit thing. It's taken Dax this long to commit. I mean, when I had talked to him in the winter, he hadn't talked to Michigan in a while, but his interest was still high. So, he goes through the spring and the summer and figuring out what to do. And then things kind of heat up again for him in Michigan. I think that this is a good commitment. And I mean, 5-star or not, I think it's a good fit, and especially I'm sure you guys have seen the comment from his parents. I feel like that's not just a hey, Michigan was best for Dax. That was a pretty strong statement, I think. So, Tatenda Zinyemba says Dax Hill is a pure safety with cover skills, better than most top corners in his class. Excited to have him address our safeties' anemic coverage skills next year. Benjamin says Michigan 19-point favorites versus Nebraska. I think that's hefty. That's hefty. Parth Patel says any chance Dax and Brad start next year. I mean, I think Dax Hill is the type of guy who could get in there. It depends on how quickly. I mean, he's 186 pounds. I mean, he's not like light or small compared to Michigan's other safeties. But I mean, imagine if he gets up in that 194, 195 range, goes through a little bit of I'm interested to see what he's going to look like after camp next year before I say it. Okay, hey, he's a guy, but in theory, could he get there? Yeah, in theory, we might be talking about Dax Hill being a true freshman who could see the field. I think that's not too far out of reach. Cody Boyle says now need Ford and Harrison, and we have a stellar class. You guys want me to go over the 2019 class real quick? I will. 23 commits, topped off by Dax Hill. He's the highest ranked player in the class, number 12 overall, number one in number one safety. He's number one out of Oklahoma. And then it's defensive end Chris Hinton, defensive tackle Mazzie Smith, offensive guard Noah Rumler, running back Zach Charbonnet. We've heard a lot about Zach Charbonnet. Eric Dickerson has coached him. Eric Dickerson, former SMU star running back and NFL running back. He said that Zach reminded him of Leonard Fournette. Of course, Eric Gray, he's committed, but I'm wondering, that Tennessee visit, is there a chance? And he's an all-purpose back. Pro-style quarterback Cade McNamara. I kind of like this kid. I think Cade. I mean, he's a hardball quarterback. I think just based on what I've seen, I've seen a little bit of interviews, done some reading on him, watched some of his film. I like Cade McNamara. Trente Jones, he's an offensive tackle. David Ohabo, he's a defensive end. Mike Morris is a defensive end. Eric Ali is a tight end. Giles Jackson, and Giles just committed on September 10th. He's a wide receiver out of California, 4-star rated. Carson Barnhart out of Paw Paw, Michigan. If you guys are from Michigan, you've heard of Carson. He's an offensive tackle. Charles Thomas, he was the first 3-star linebacker. I'm excited for Charles Thomas. I want to see what he can do. I've had a lot of communication with Charles, and again, he'll be at Michigan taking an official for the Wisconsin game. DJ Turner the second, and he's a cornerback. Quentin Johnson is a safety. Zach Carpenter is an offensive guard. Jack Stewart is an offensive tackle. Gabe Newberg is a defensive end. George Johnson III is an athlete. Joey Velasquez, remember the Ohio State thing? He was going to play baseball. He's a safety. Quintel Kent, he's a wide receiver. And Tyrese Woods is a defensive tackle. No player lower rated than 3-star, which, I mean, you wouldn't really expect to see that at Michigan, but I think that people get too caught up in the star rankings. I mean, if you look at these guys for what they are, how they're going to fit in what Michigan does and what Michigan plans to do, I think that Michigan's recruited pretty well under Jim Harbaugh. So if you're a Michigan fan, I don't think that you can really complain about this class. Dax Hill certainly is the big one. I think that a lot of people are they're happy about. Robert Protzman says, did you see his parents' comments about how Michigan isn't a win at all costs? Yes, absolutely. Ohio State shot or Alabama, maybe, I don't know. They help you with life after football. Yeah, I think in general they're looking at what can Michigan do lifelong, or is Dax just going to be a guy who comes into a big football system and gets spit out? And I don't know. But the bottom line is that it was a strong comment, and it was absolutely makes me believe that Dax Hill. That's a real connection. It's not just a commitment to commit and take visits later, and then I'm going to flip to another school. I think it's the real deal. I don't think you really see parents come out and say things like that if it's not real. Kirk Kramer says, do we have any other good offensive line commits? Yeah, the Carson Barnhart kid for Paw Paw, I like him. Again, I just went through the class. Trente Jones, he's a 4-star. Carson Barnhart, he's a 3-star. Jack Stewart, he's a 3-star. But again, don't always base on rankings. I mean, Michigan State's had pretty good offensive lines with like 3-star guys in the past. I mean, Wisconsin's had some good offensive lines with like 3-star guys in the past. You could look around at a lot of schools. Any questions or comments, guys? If you're watching and maybe you just want to use Twitter, at AdamBiggers81 is the way to reach me. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide, and that's the same handle on both platforms, Twitter and Facebook. Kurt Kramer says, thanks for the answer. No problem, Kurt. Oh, yeah, Noah Rumler. I forgot about him, too. Yeah, 9 and 20. Rumler is really guard. Cody Boyle says, what do you think about Crouch? Haven't heard anything on him in a while. Talking about if you're getting real specific on recruiting, you're gonna get out of my range. Anyway, guys, real quick, like I said, I do want to keep this one a little bit shorter. I want to point out a couple things. I want to talk about the offense real quick. We've talked about recruiting. I wanted to go over the Dax Hill thing. If you guys have any, maybe 1 or 2 more recruiting questions, but I want to focus on the offense. And a lot of people, they're complaining, right? A lot of fans, and it's various degrees of complaining. Maybe it's just blatant whining, and maybe it's like, okay, why aren't we seeing a little bit more? And I think overall, if you look at the numbers of Michigan's offense, there's not really a lot to complain about. I know that people want to see a little bit more creativity in the play calling, which will happen. But, I mean, you've already had a running back over 150 yards. I mean, you've had the DPJ game, the 3 touchdowns. You've had Zach Gentry. They have used Ambry Thomas one time on offense, jet sweep. The fake jet sweep set up the 35-yard touchdown for Donovan Peoples-Jones. We've seen a little bit. It's not like they're just going to get tricky every single play and just go all out, flea flickers and reverse and all sorts of crazy motion and everything. I mean, that's a pro style offense still. So, I mean, that's not going to change, but there will be, I think, a little bit more added to it. And right now the Wolverines have the number 28 ranked yards per play average in the country at 6.4 yards. And that's 1.4 yards better than what they were in 2017. They're averaging 37 points per game right now. Last year averaged 25.2. So that's almost 2 touchdowns better. So if the offense isn't better in some capacity, and yeah, the offense, Michigan's gotten a little bit of help. The Ambry Thomas kickoff return at Notre Dame, that's one of the touchdowns, and then Josh Metellus' pick 6. So special teams and a defensive touchdown. So it's not like 37 points per game is coming from all pure offense. But at the end of the day, Michigan's offense is showing signs. Shea Patterson looks pretty comfortable. I talked to Mike Onwenu this week. Mike Onwenu likes the way it's going. He said it's fun playing with Shea. They're confident in him that he's going to be able to make plays. Grant Perry said that we haven't really seen a ton of the offense. He said we've seen what the coaches have called, which is the right answer, but there's going to be more. And he said there's a lot of stuff in the playbook that they've learned that they don't even run right now, or I don't know if that means maybe they're not going to run it at all. I don't understand if they're going to learn stuff that they're never going to run. So the base of that is Grant Perry said there's a lot in the playbook. So we haven't seen a lot. Grant Perry says there's a lot in the playbook. So A to B, I have to believe that, okay, well, there's a lot more to this offense. So read this. I'm going to drop the link in here right now. It's got the video with Grant Perry and Mike Onwenu in there. I wasn't able to make it down to availability today, guys. I'm sorry. I'm slacking. I had some behind-the-scenes things to take care of, working on a couple things. I will be there for the game Saturday, of course. Noah Ayub says, what's going on with Eric Gray? Heard he's decommitted. Well, he's taking an official to Tennessee this weekend. So, I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, I'm not saying that he's decommitting. I don't have the latest on him, but he is taking a visit to Tennessee, and, there's a little bit of buzz about that. But again, if it's not Eric Gray, I think Michigan's also got a pretty solid connect with Wan'Dale Robinson, and Wan'Dale is the number 4 ranked all-purpose back. Eric Gray's the number 3 ranked all-purpose back, so I don't know if you're going to have a tremendous drop-off either way in terms of talent. Noah says on the offensive side needs to open it up more with the talent they have. Well, I mean, they have, haven't they? I mean, we've seen 7, 8, 9 receivers or 7, 8, 9 guys catch a ball. Sometimes, once or twice it's a running back or tight end, but 7, 8, 9 guys catching a ball in the game. You've seen a little bit of deep pass in Nico. You've seen the chemistry with DPJ. You've seen the chemistry with Zach Gentry. You've seen Karan Higdon, get loose. I mean, it's only been through 3 games. I think sometimes it's unrealistic. Michigan fans, want the offense to put up 400 yards per play, and every drive is a 2-play, 45-second scoring drive. I mean, I don't know. You gotta be realistic here. Other than that first quarter against SMU, and then of course the first half against Notre Dame, I think there's a lot of things to look at Michigan's offense and say, okay, this is going to improve. Period. I mean, I don't have as much of a worry about Michigan's offense as maybe even heading into the season, because I'm pretty satisfied of what I've seen out of Shea Patterson. I think even with an offensive line that struggles, Shea Patterson is still going to make some plays for Michigan. Shea is still going to be Shea. He's shown the ability, whether he is getting protection or he isn't. I mean, he's completed passes both ways, right? I mean, flying by the seat of his pants and avoiding a sack, or having a little bit of time in the pocket and firing downfield to Nico. He's shown the ability to do both. I don't think there's a ton of reason to worry about Michigan's offense. And I think that, if you are worrying about the offense, what are you worrying? Like, what specifically are you worried about? Are you mad because, okay, well, it took Chris Evans a little bit to get going and he didn't rush for 100 yards? Well, I mean, he rushed for 85 yards. That's still a good day. 4.7 per carry. We've talked about all this. And the numbers are there. I mean, the points are up, yards per play are up. They've thrown touchdown passes to wide receivers. I mean, what else do you guys want? Seriously, I think Michigan's offense is going in the right direction. I think it's fine. They'll open up the playbook. I don't think there's a lot to worry about. Joel Brown says, I'm late. What's up, Big? Still not too late to become a Michigan fan. Well, I'm 36 years old, so I think that ship has sailed, Joel, but I appreciate the thought. Benjamin says, everyone's still overreacting about the Notre Dame. I know, Benjamin. That's the thing. Forget the Notre Dame game that happened. That has no bearing on right now. If it's going to have any bearing on the season whatsoever, it's going to be toward the end of the season. Like I just said this the other day, and they're going to be like, okay, look how far we've come since the Notre Dame game. That's what I think. Joel Brown says, pessimist needs to slow their roll. Michigan scored on 6 straight drives last game. Thanks, Joel. That's a great stat right there. Shea Patterson's completing like 8 passes in a row. He can't miss the Donovan Peoples-Jones. What is the problem? He's not getting sacked at every turn. I mean, it's not like, this is offensive line is when Devin Gardner was a beanbag back, a tackling dummy for the. I felt bad for Devin Gardner. That was the 2014 season. This isn't that. It's taken a little bit of time. They're developing, but this is not a horrible offense by any stretch. You can't, through 3 games, and I'm not looking at it from glass half full standpoint. I'm looking at it from facts. If it's a horrible offense, why is it scoring almost 2 touchdowns better than what it averaged last year? And again, 3 games in, I know. But if it's a horrible offense, why is it? I mean, it's averaging 1.5 yards better almost per play. I mean, everything's on the up. I don't see a problem. I'm over here ranting. Joel, I'm sounding like a Michigan fan right now, but I'm telling you guys, I'm a fan of logic. And logic says Michigan's offense doesn't suck as bad as everybody wants to believe it does. Nan20 says, is the backup behind Devin Gill, Josh Ross? Is Josh Ross Devin Gill's backup? I wouldn't even say that they're backup. I think they kind of just split. I mean, it's almost kind of like that. But yeah, I mean, if Devin going to be on the field first, yeah. But yeah, it's Devin and Josh. Eric313 says everyone needs to stop with the open up the playbook BS. Those 3 games were just played don't mean crap as far as the Big Ten is concerned. Winning games that actually matter. Big Ten is the most important. Mark Reed's in the building, says 90% of Michigan fans online are clueless, like the guy who said Bush was quiet versus SMU. Okay. Benjamin says offense is far better than it was last year with O'Connor. I mean, exactly, guy. I don't understand like all the gripes. I mean, you want people say just show me some improvement. Okay, well then there's improvement. Well, that's not enough improvement. Not quick enough. I mean, I don't understand what else needs to be seen to prove that this offense is on the uptick. I mean, it's got a quarterback that's completing 70.8% of his passes. There is no stat, there is no number, there is nothing other than that first half of the Notre Dame game. We could maybe the SMU first quarter of the SMU game, but teams have those. But it's not. There's nothing that can make me think that Michigan's offense, the glass is half empty for Michigan's offense, because it's not. Drew Fortier says Valente. Oh, Valente said, yeah, Mike Valente says both Michigan and MSU have atrocious offenses and absolutely no chance versus Ohio State. I mean, as of right now, I would have to agree that they probably don't have a chance against Ohio State. I don't think that Michigan State's offense has some problems. That's an offense with some problems. Michigan's offense isn't atrocious. Mike says a lot of things. He's passionate. You know, he gets into it. I like Valenti sometimes. But to call Michigan's offense atrocious is not accurate. Sorry, I got to disagree with that. I know I'm a dude in a room. I'm not in some major radio station and whatever, but I'm sorry. For what my opinion is worth, Mike Valenti's wrong by calling Michigan's offense atrocious. It's not atrocious. Johnny Olin says Adrian Martinez may upset Michigan if he plays. Or, I mean, the Andrew Bunch kid, neither one of these guys have a ton of experience, though. D-Stern21 says, don't listen to Valenti because if MSU is looking bad, he's going to bring down U of M just because he's a hater. Well, I mean, and I don't think it's a secret. Mike doesn't hide his Spartans fandom. And, yeah, he'll be very critical of Michigan State. But he's got to get his jabs in there to Michigan, too. I know. An atrocious offense, 37 points a game. I don't know. What's Michigan State's offense is averaging what right now? Let's look that up because it's not even in like the top 100. Number 71. It's averaging 25.5 points per game. So if both are atrocious, if 37 points per game is atrocious, then I mean, okay. Washington State, who has a really accurate quarterback, has an atrocious offense. Wisconsin, Clemson, Miami, Florida, Baylor, Indiana, which actually has kind of a dangerous offense, spread offense. I think Michigan State better watch out this weekend. So if those are all atrocious offenses too, evidently, according to the Valenti line, I guess is what we're going to call it. But I mean, Michigan's offense isn't atrocious. Michigan State's offense is atrocious. Tell me a Michigan State wide receiver that's caught 14 of 15 passes for 4 touchdowns, or a tight end that's caught 7-11 and just came off a 4-catch, 95-yard career high day, or a running back that's rushed for 150 yards. Those are not trademarks in an atrocious offense. Mike Valenti, if you're watching. Joel Brown says it's not top 10, but it's improving every week. I mean, it's number 28. And here, you want to know what's separating? Okay, well, there's some teams scoring a lot of points. So let's go. Well, yeah, it's kind of, but still, I mean, if Michigan's averaging right now 37 points per game, if it was averaging 40 points per game, it'd be top 20. Right now, you have some teams that, Alabama's averaging 56, Ohio's 56, Central Florida, UCF 56, Penn State 53, Oklahoma 49.7, Oklahoma State 49. But you know what I mean? So it's early. They've had their points per game average are padded because of these early games. But at the end of the day, none of that matters. To say Michigan's offense is atrocious at 37 points per game, you also have to say the Clemson's offense is atrocious. You also have to say the Wisconsin and Washington State and Baylor. You have to say all those are atrocious as well. You have to say every offense that's ranked between number 28 and beyond is atrocious. So every offense, every offense beyond Michigan's is atrocious. All right, I'll stop beating this topic to its death. We're on 30 minutes already, guys. So Kyle Ralph says, Adam, what are the issues with MSU's offense? Personnel, play calling. I haven't seen them enough to really understand their struggles. Offensive line, in the absence of L.J. Scott. And you go to Arizona State and Brian Lewerke throws for 300 yards and you score 13 points and lose on a 28-yard field goal as the clock expires. That's what's wrong. And I think this bye week actually kind of hurts Michigan State too. So, I mean, going to Indiana, my partner Ryan Schuling will be there covering it. You can follow him on Twitter at Ryan Schuling, and that's SCHUILING. Joel Brown's L.J. Scott hurt. I haven't heard the latest. Ryan Schuling would actually be the guy to ask about that. Eric313 says Michigan is averaging 37.5 points with the most vanilla play calling so far. Let's wait and see what happens when we really open the playbook up. That's a great comment. Back up top, Benjamin says Valenti is just a radio personality to exaggerate things to be entertaining. Yeah, I mean, he does make points, but yeah, he's got, that's his brand, I mean, and he's done it well. I'm not criticizing him or saying he's not good at what he does. I'm saying that he's wrong by calling Michigan's offense atrocious. That doesn't make any sense. True 48 says he cited how Michigan had 30 dishes for 88 yards or whatever to start versus SMU. Okay, but I mean, it opened up the passing game, didn't it? That was a game I think Michigan went in there with the intent. Okay, we've already flexed muscle on the ground a little bit. Let's go do it through the air. Samantha Day says, too bad we couldn't play Nebraska in 1997. We were going to roll over them. Samantha Day says, State probably couldn't even score against Notre Dame right now, let alone the first game. Michigan State's offense has some major trouble. Major trouble. I'm going to check Twitter, guys. We're going to call it a little bit early today. Nothing on Twitter, but if you don't already, follow me at AdamBiggers81 and subscribe to the channel, guys. We're already approaching 1,250. Seeing comments about the offense is doing well. It's improving. Yeah, I mean, guys, I don't see the problem with. I don't understand why people are attacking Michigan's offense. I'm going to read this quote directly from Grant Perry. And this is on, more to the offense, more depth to the offense. And this is in the article. I dropped the link in there. I'll do it again. And I quote from Grant Perry. We've seen what the coaches have called. There's plays that coaches don't call, whether it's we don't have the right look, the defense isn't giving us the right look, or they feel it's just not right, or they feel it's just not the right time. It's whatever they want to call when they want to call it. There's a lot more stuff, a lot more plays that we don't run. I just know that because we've had to study that, and there's a lot. When they find the right moment for the right plays, they'll call them. So there's a lot more to this offense. It's not a puddle. It's an ocean. Simple Carl says, I live in Nebraska, but I'm from Flint. We're at Flint. Did you tell? We're at Simple Carl. You told me that. I think you told me you were from Michigan last time. He said, I live in Nebraska, but I'm from Flint. I have $1,000 in bets I made before the season on a straight-up head-to-head matchup. Uh-oh. Well, I hope you win, Simple Carl. Eric313 says, Michigan's defensive tackles need more push up the middle. Our ends are getting a lot of pressure, but quarterbacks are able to step up in the pocket and make throws. That's true. That's true. They're not getting what they want. You know what I mean? Aubrey Solomon's not in there. Lawrence Marshall's not in there. I think Brian Monet had a pretty good game against SMU. I think he was like one of their highest ranked, highest graded out players by Pro Football Focus. PFF. I like those graphics, and I mean it's cool. Adds a little bit of a metric to it. But I mean, if you just watch the game, you could see that Brian Monet had good. Yeah, Carlo Kemp did as well. Eric 313 got his first career sack. Well, yeah, Monet definitely. It's the nose tackle position, but it's the 3-tech position specifically for Michigan that's not getting a lot of push. Benjamin says, I think the Michigan versus MSU game this year will be the best of the Harbaugh versus D'Antonio series. The first three were all very entertaining. I mean, that 15 game was a thriller. I mean, that could not be any more exciting. Cameron Clark says, I'm a child. I need a 40-minute nap every day. Hey, that's not only for kids, Cameron. I nap as well. D-Strin21 says, I just think because of his stamina, he has to sub out a lot. You know, Cameron says, up, Adam, just woke up from my 3 o'clock nap. Lazy. Cam Clark, lazy. I remember when I used to be able to take a nap at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which was yesterday, actually. I'm not gonna lie, I did that. Any other questions, guys? Comments, concerns? I'll have we'll go full-on preview mode in Nebraska during the Friday live stream. So the noon kickoff on Fox Sports 1. I'll be there Saturday. The Harbaugh post-game press conference, interviews, writing. I'll write some more stuff this week. But again, you know, we'll do the score predictions on Friday. We'll get into further discuss Nebraska's offense, the quarterback situation. Is it Adrian Martinez? Is it Andrew Bunch? It's going to be both of them. We're going to talk about a lot. One last comment says Skylar Duke. Am I saying this right? Skylar Dukevich. Hopefully I nailed it first time. Mark Reed says, good show, man. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for stopping in. Skylar Dukevich says, MSU and Michigan look like carbon copies of each other this year. Same glaring weaknesses. It will be a good game, but may not mean much more than in-state bragging rights. I don't think they're carbon copies. I don't think Michigan State's defense is as good as Michigan's. As a team right now, Michigan State, there's a lot more to improve upon than what Michigan needs. And again, with this early bye week, it's easy to kind of stir and float around questions. Going on the road to Indiana, this is going to be a big game for the Spartans. Drew 48 says, True Wilson, best pass blocking back, and what's up with Uche? I haven't heard anything on Uche, and is True Wilson the best pass blocking back right now? I think Cron Higdon's pretty good too. Ethan Lahennis wants to know who will be my Nebraska game MVP. I'll pick that on Friday, guys. So we're getting 38 minutes here, so I'm gonna get going, guys. I want to thank everybody for watching today. Again, if you missed the beginning, we talk a lot about Dax Hill. I go over the 2019 class and cite a couple recruits. Obviously, for like the latest, most up to the minute recruiting stuff, you guys know it's like Sam Webb and Steve Lorenz. Those guys, Bryce Marich is pretty good as well. Those kind of guys, they follow recruiting a lot closer than I do. But I was able to talk to Charles Thomas. He was the first recruit in the 2019 class. He's excited for Dax. Seems like that's kind of the mood around it for everybody else. Dax's parents really like Michigan, and I think that this is a really good get for the Wolverines. So we talk about recruiting, talk about why you shouldn't worry about Michigan's offense, and I'm going to drop the link to that article in here one more time. And I'm still working on getting the setting up how we're going to do the subscriptions, guys. So again, contact me. If it's not on Twitter, you can email. I don't know if I want to give out my personal email. I'm sure it's out there anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's at adam.biggers@yahoo.com. So if you're interested in becoming a Great Lakes Divide premium package subscriber, it'll be worth it, and it's not going to be a lot of money. And that's pretty much it. So if you're interested in that, contact me on Twitter, or again, adam.biggers@yahoo.com is my email. And I want to thank Federal Williams, our title sponsor. Again, visit federalwilliams.com for all of your realty needs. If you're in Lansing, perfect. He's there. He knows the area really well. But if it's on a statewide thing, if you're looking Metro Detroit, Grand Rapids, wherever, Mike can help you out with that as well. So again, follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide. Same handle on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks to everybody: Mark, Skylar, Cam, Ethan, Drew, Blaine Young, D-Strin21, Joel Brown, Nyan 20. If I missed you, it's not on purpose. Noah, Ayub, Angelica. Oh wait, Angelica Campos. I can't leave without without at least reading her comment. You must be on your you're on your unmarried account, Angelica, right now, are you? She says, did you guys see the 5-star safety we got for the 2019 class? Yes, Dax Hill, absolutely, Angelica. We talked a lot about it in the beginning of the show. So as soon as I finish this, you'll be able to go back and watch the replay. A lot of people ask questions. I talk more about recruiting in this episode than I ever have. So did a little bit of extra one. I know a lot of you guys are really into the recruiting thing. I get into the recruiting thing now more, and like I said, talked to Dax a little bit, but now he's committed. I look at him a little bit harder once they commit, and kind of some like the bigger targets. So again, I'm not the guy for the everyday. I can't tell you when he's going to take an official visit here or there, what schools and all that stuff. But there are a couple guys I have, some good inside info on. So if I do, I'll share it with you guys. So again, thanks for watching. I'm Adam. You guys have a good rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you back Friday sometime between 11 a.m. and noon Eastern time. So looking forward to it, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget greatlakesdivide.squarespace.com. Go read all my stuff. Got a piece on Shea. Got the thing on where's the offense going. A lot of great stuff. And player interviews from this week on my YouTube channel. So please like and subscribe. So thanks, everybody. Have a good one. I'll talk to you next time.